Welcome back, everybody, to another part of the series where we are creating a web designer slash developer portfolio website. Last time we finished on the responsiveness for two of the sections of the landing page. Today we're going to be doing the same. We're going to be creating the tech stack and CTA sections of the landing page into a mobile design. We're going to be finishing off the landing page completely by doing this. I mean the wireframe, of course. So now the landing page tech stack section is where I showed what languages or what technologies are skilled in, right? So this shouldn't be very difficult. It's very simple. Just gonna have to duplicate this. Okay, so now we just have to remove everything. Of course, we don't want to remove the title. So here I'm gonna copy this and I'm just gonna paste it in. Okay, so now we have the title here, and after this title it's very simple. We just need to present these icons as the different programming languages and software. Now before I do that, I want to have some change here in terms of I want to make this a bit smaller. So instead of like 48, I want to go 32, which seems a bit more fitting. So now we can just bring these icons into the frame here. We can just duplicate one of them and bring it here. But that's not the only thing I want to do. Now, we talked about this. Obviously, it's not quite in the wireframe. I think we should have it though. Is when we hover over one of the icons, for example, I want some information to be clear, right? So when we hover over the icon, I want to show what programming language it is, and maybe in what terms, what it is actually. So it's not only a programming language, it might also be a software, it might also be a design skill. So when I hover over this, I want to show either if it is a programming language, a software, a skill, or something different. So let me just make that visible. So the way we want to do it is first we want to make this a bit bigger. Then we want to show the program language. For example, let's say this is Rust. I want to make it a bit bigger. And it's a programming language, right? So programming language. Obviously, we want this to be quite small. I'm going to go with 14 pixel size here. So now we want to group these two. These are the content or the information based on this icon. And we don't want to make it this big. It was 64. Maybe we can keep it there. So we can just group these two. Yeah, we can group these into an auto layout, 16 pixel gap. And what is the best way to showcase it? Maybe we could give it some padding here. And let's move it right here. Maybe we don't even need the padding, but I think it's better to create some sort of separation by adding the background color. Here I'm going to go with the gray, and I'm just going to change the black to be full white. And here I'm going to do some reverse. It's going to be 800 and the white would be black. So when hovering over it, it will change to this sort of status. Now the only thing that remains is to change the gap from 4 to auto and make it fill the container. Okay, so on hover, this is like the idea we want to be following in terms of this is what we want to be showing, right? Now, saying that, you obviously know that on mobile, hovering does not exist. Since there is no mouse, you use your fingers, and there isn't really a good way of tracking your fingers. So, by the way, might want to rename this to active. So what we're going to be doing here is just showing the icon. And on this side, I'm just going to say, for example, rest. Let's make this a bit bigger. Okay, maybe it's fine. Maybe it's fine actually. We might change it. Okay, sure. We might change it in the final stage of the design. Actually, not on the not even on the final, the next stage of the design. Or we might stick with it. So, okay, so it's a programming language here. Uh, Now we can just group them. Here, obviously, I want to make this smaller, around 12. And here we want to make this just hug the content. Then let's make this a bit smaller as well, since it's mobile and we don't have as much space as we would like here. So the 18 would change to 16. And we want to group them, and it's auto, so that's why it adjusts here. You can see because it has auto spacing. This is one way where we could basically repeat the same idea that we did here. But I think there is too much space here that we can utilize. And I'm gonna go with around 16 pixels and hot content here. So now the space is better utilized, and we can perhaps try a very uh, interesting approach the same way we did here, the same way we did up here with random positions. We can perhaps try that here as well. Yeah, so I'm thinking to just scatter them around. Obviously here we want to rename this. Okay, let's just rename this. This is the info, and this is the programming language. It is the tech. So we want to just copy this, Control Shift R to paste it everywhere. Yeah, so I'm just scattering them around here. Okay, maybe that's it probably. That would be an interesting way of just presenting it. Uh, but maybe let's try to do it in a way that is more structured. So let's go around 24 pixel gap. Hmm. It's an interesting thing here, so we can just duplicate it. I think there is a bit of space that we can utilize. Okay, so I have changed my mind here, actually, and what I want to do, let's just remove some of them here. Actually, let's just remove all of them first. Let's make this bigger since we have the space. And let's make this just hug content. Now from here, we can take a different approach where we could have these side by side. Yeah, so if we just do that, it's like a carousel that we have been doing so far, right here and here as well. But this would be more of an interactive carousel. So we can just call this the row. 24 pixel gap is fine. Then we can just duplicate this 1, 2, 3, 4. Yeah, so different rows of carousels. So we can just call this tech, or we can call it main, and move it down here. Okay, so at this point, all we have to make sure of is that they do not like confuse each other. For example, I 24 pixel here. I don't want people to assume that is this part is being assumed for this element here, which I don't think people would get that confused the way it currently is. So let's just move it down here and let's finish off. So 24, we want to stay consistent as much as possible. So 24 here as well. Now, saying that, I would want to change these texts again. So yeah, but there, as I told you so many times, the reason I want to do this is because people really, you have to get into this habit of trying to at least give your text uh, a meaning, a value. Uh, the reason for that is you will get a better idea of the final inputs, uh, or the final, for example, this would be handled with a content management system, SCMS. So like putting this here might not make much sense if it is just like lorem ipsum, because the words or the letters of lorem don't really fit inside of, like, for example, here, if this was lorem and here if it was JavaScript, if I put JavaScript here in the final design, we would have a better understanding of how the actual text would work. So yeah, it's a difficult thing because not always do you have uh, not always do you have the content that would be in the final website. For example, you might be creating a new commerce website, so you don't know each of the like items that are gonna be sold on that website. So it's better if you could just put a realistic sort of uh realistic text into it, because when the final design comes, what you put in might not feel the same. So like sometimes in design, feeling of sort of elements, like it might not have a principle. Like for most of the things we have contrast, we have visual hierarchy, we have different metrics to follow to make our designs work, but you might not have that in some part of design. So to keep the feel consistent and to keep the feel sort of uh, to keep the feel right is what I'm trying to say. You better like put at least some sort of realistic text here. So obviously for the softwares, I'm just gonna say software. You can also say design software, but I'm just gonna say software. Okay. So obviously I don't want there to be this sort of shape. Now we could have used Figma's new layering system. Like there is another method of auto layouts here. This layer new layering system. Uh but I've just because this is a wireframe, I didn't want to get into those complications. For this, what I'm gonna do is I'm just gonna drag this out here and I will fix it simply. Okay. What we can do here is we can just take this ruler here and align it perfectly. So now there is constant alignment. Great. So this is the tech stack or skills section. Now for this section here, for the call to action section, it's going to be very simple. Might just be the simplest one we do. Yes, because it's not much will actually just change. What we want here is we want the carousel here, everything actually. We can just duplicate it, bring it over here. Now we want to drag it in from both sides and place it up here aligned perfectly. Okay, align it again. Okay, great. So now what we want to do is we want to take these, both the top and the bottom ones, and we want to resize them. Obviously, we want the screens to be just filling the container. Okay, so now maybe resize them like this. Okay, let's just copy this. Control Shift R, change the name to bottom. Okay, then let's take this 24 pixel in between gap would work fine. Okay, just after some fiddling here, just to get it right. Want to place this in a top-down manner, then let's take this, put it in. Again, we want to change this to be either 64, actually not 64 here. I think it was the 48, if I'm not mistaken. Yeah. Then we want to change this as well from 16 to 14 here. Okay, we are almost done. We just have to place it on top here. And we just keep the carousel slider the way it actually is. So yeah, something like this. So it's basically pretty much the same thing. Obviously we have to center it and we have to center this. Okay, something like this. Which works great now. And yeah, is it the correct way of positioning it? I'm thinking that we could just central line it and that would work better. Yeah, okay, central alignment works better. Obviously we don't want as big of a space here, so we're gonna change it to 24. Then the final thing here is to include these links, which were for the socials here. You just want to change this to 32, the gap. And let's select all of them and change their sizes to be the body size, which is 12. And let's get them in here. By the way, we have to change this to CTA, the name of the layer here or the screen, and this be tech stack. So now we want to take this, put it inside of the CTA. I think it is here. Okay, great. So now we want to take these two elements here, group them together. Also, the spacing between them would be auto, so that we can drag this here. Okay, so now, in reality, do I want to put my Instagram here? I was thinking about this and I don't really want to do that. I'm not really active there as much, so I'd like, and it would be more inconvenient than anything else to have to check there for people's contacts. So I'm gonna stick here, and the final thing I want to do is I want to move this centrally so that the top and we're going to take this as our bottom reference point, so it should be pretty much the same. So 82 pixel gap here, and from the top it should be 82 as well. Okay, it's 86. Let's move two more actually, so it's 84 by 84 now. Okay, so it seems like we have a bit of space, so you can just return this to around 48. Not quite 64, but should probably work. 60 by 60. Okay, great. So this is the call to action section, which will be automatically sliding over or scrolling over. Okay, so this works great now. I think we are completely done with the landing page responsiveness here. Okay, if I just collapse, what's this? Okay, we have to rename this to be the footer. Okay, I think that's it here for the landing page. It doesn't take us too long. Next time we're going to be starting on the portfolio page of the website. Then we'll be finishing off with these sort of headers and contents for the case studies. It's very simple. Uh, Once we get like to this point here, it's very simple. It won't really take us more than 2 minutes to finish each responsiveness. It's very simple. It's not too complicated. But you can see how from simple wireframes of your design, you could create a website layout that is very interesting. And obviously, we're going to be seeing the full website design when it's complete, when it's finished with all the animations and colors, fonts. But so far, I'm really liking it. Again, if you have any questions, please ask them down below in the description. Sorry, not the description, the comments. Also, if you have any thoughts on the series, for example, or if you want the series to go a bit faster or slower, anything you want, comment them down below in the description. Thanks everybody for watching. That's all for today. Yeah, until next time.